Now,
You want me to cover the last thing you said?
yeah, I just wanted to. We actually
Sure.
got a lot
Let
of.
me go through that because I think sometimes we get these questions at TPI all the time too.
Great.
So how can you use this as different practitioners? Okay, number one, golf professional, I think it's pretty obvious. If you want to guess, then just don't worry about it. If you're sick and tired of guessing, or you're sick and tired of telling clients the same thing over and over again, this is something you need to look at because you cannot and absolutely cannot see efficiency on a video camera. You can only see efficiency on 3D. And if you truly believe my philosophy and our philosophy, which is we do not believe there's one way to swing a golf club. We believe there's an infinite number of ways to swing a golf club, but there's only one efficient way for each person to swing based on their body, then this isn't an option. It's the only way you can measure efficiency. And then it also takes all your guessing away. You don't have to guess which part of their body is inefficient. You're like, oh, it's their thorax or it's their pelvis, and now you can take a magnifying glass to that segment, and you now know that there are three things that can create efficiency problems. Either A, they don't know what they're doing. They're not rotating it properly, stabilizing it properly, turning it properly. Number two, it's they physically can't do anything about it. They've got poor range of motion or mobility or stability. Or three is they're manufacturing something because their clubs don't fit them properly. So I think that's a pretty powerful and obvious statement. For the medical practitioner, one of the things that we do all the time is we look at range of motions. You can use this, I didn't even show this, but we can bring up on our comparison table in our reports, we can actually look at, and actually I might as well do it since I'm talking about it, we can actually even look at this as a fancy goniometer or dual inclinometer, which a lot of us use all the time. And I can go to my reports, and I can pick up a biomechanics report, and I can compare this to a database, or I can just look at it. But I can actually go through, and I can look at dynamic range of motions. Like I can see on the thorax the total amount of range of motion that they have in the thorax, closed and open. I can look at how much they bend, how much they side bend. So I get an idea of how much excursion the spine is going through on each one of these players. I can compare that to tour players. I can also start looking at what I mentioned before, which was I can start looking at injury parameters, like, wow, the hammock is in the water. And we go through a lot of these in our classes. When the hammock's in the water, that's the number one indicator of back pain. So I think you can use these to start picking up how certain motor patterns can create massive stresses in the body. And then I always say the worst thing in the world is you treat somebody with tennis elbow and you do all your great work and they feel better and they take one swing and the pain's back. It's not because you're a bad practitioner. It's because their motor patterns would create the injury in the first place, and you should have picked that up. And the last thing is for our fitness guys. I always feel like this is a two-prong approach on the fitness. Number one, again, just like the golf pros, it tells me which segment's the problem. Do I need to focus more on lower body stability with this person? Do I need more mobility with this person? Just the fact of knowing mobility versus stability will help me attack a fitness program or a program design a little better. And then number two is I always feel like when you're working in the gym, any type of feedback, just like with the golf pro uses feedback drills, we can use these feedback drills in the gym to actually make our exercises more effective. Because I always say there's only one thing worse than the wrong exercise. It's doing the right one wrong. That drives me crazy because a lot of people, we give them great exercises, but they don't perform them properly, and that can be just as bad as not doing an exercise. So I think those are three pretty simple reasons why this technology is used in the best facilities in the world.
Well, thank you, Greg. It is around 9:30, and I want to make sure that a lot of the questions that you had typed in we did not get to. However, like I mentioned earlier, we will be responding via email to those questions by the end of the week. I wanted to thank all the attendees for joining, giving us your time tonight. Also, a very special thanks to Dr. Greg Rose for his time tonight, very educational, and explaining the importance of this now 3D teaching system. Again, I want to thank everyone for attending tonight, and we look forward to more of these educational webinars with Dr. Greg Rose. Thank you very much. Good night.